Yo, what's up everyone? Today we are talking about Arnold Allen versus Jean Silva. Breakdown, prediction, MMA math, all included. First, I want to talk about the fact that it is insane that Jean Silva is getting cooked by Diego Lopes in a back and forth fight, but still getting cooked. And then he's still getting someone that's ranked above him 5 spots. I don't know how he gets these opportunities, but it is what it is. I don't mind it because he's very entertaining. And this fight is going to be insane, but that's something to consider as well in your breakdown. Anyway, let's look at these records of both gentlemen. Obviously, Arnold Allen, beautiful record, 20-3, and our boy Jean Silva, 16-3. So very good records on both sides. Arnold Allen, 11-2 in the UFC. Jean Silva, 5-1 in the UFC. So let's look at the odds. I think that Jean Silva is a big favorite. I mean, he's minus 270, minus 300 even. That's crazy. That's very interesting. Honestly, I do understand that he's the favorite, right? But minus 300 against a guy like Arnold Allen is kind of crazy to me, because Arnold, at the end of the day, bro, Arnold, he has a somewhat of a similar style to Jean, where he's going forward, he's throwing like a crazy man. I know his last performance wasn't the best one against Giga Chikadze, especially with how bad Chikadze's looked, but that's a very different style matchup. You know, Giga was going backwards all the time. That's not what Jean Silva is going to be doing. Jean is also the shorter fighter. He has less reach than Allen. Very different matchup to a guy like Giga. Before this, Arnold Allen was doing very well. Let me show you guys the Tapology. You can see, man, he was going through the whole division. He was 10-0 at some point. Then he fought Max Holloway, one of the best fighters of this generation. Lost to him in a fairly competitive fight, 49-46. Then lost against Movsar Yevloyev. A lot of people call this a robbery. I can understand where they're coming from, but just a very, very close fight. Then, as I said, he beat Giga Chikadze. Not the greatest fight, but I feel like that's just something it's a whole different matchup. You know, we're talking about MMA math, and then we can say, oh, if he had such a hard time against Giga, he'll probably lose to Jean. But a whole different matchup, and I mean, he still won. You know, was fairly competitive, but he still won, clearly, in my opinion. If we look at Jean Silva's names, like, who has this guy fought, right? Kevin Vallejos. Lost the first round against him, and this was a 21-year-old Kevin Vallejos. Lost round 1, beat him in rounds 2 and 3, knocked him down, I think 1 or 2 times. A good fight, good performance from him. Then Weston Wilson. Took him 4 minutes, by the way, to finish this guy. Maybe the worst guy on the UFC roster. Charles Jourdain. That was a good performance, but he came in heavy, and Charles is already a small featherweight. That's why he went down to 135. But nonetheless, a good performance. Did get taken down a few times even there, though, by Charles Jourdain. Drew Dober beat him. A good fight, a good performance. Broke both his hands on the chin of Drew. Happens, but overall it didn't get hit, barely got hit, and very nice performance. Melzik Bagdasaryan, I mean, he's not bad. He's a pretty good striker, but that's all about it. And he got cooked there. So I don't know if you guys can hear this, but fuck it. Anyway, the striking is pretty good, but that's about it. Then he gets Bryce Mitchell, right? Ninja choke, we all know, cooked him. But once again, Bryce Mitchell way too small for 145. And I mean, he outgrappled him even at some points, and obviously the ninja choke, but it's a whole different matchup. Then he gets Diego Lopes a few months later. He gets cooked on the ground in round 1. You can see he gets his head elbowed in, and it looks like a golf ball. And at the end, he loses by a spinning back fist, because back elbow. Because he goes in there too crazy, too insane. Which, I mean, that's something that you cannot do against guys like Diego Lopes, even against a guy like Arnold Allen. Then you will get in trouble, because he was cooking Diego in the second round. Let's be honest, he was doing really well. He was he was getting a lot more confident. He stuffed a few takedowns, I think, as well, and he was cooking Diego up until that moment. Arnold Allen is not someone like Diego Lopez. First off, he has a bit more head movement. He moves a lot better on the feet as well. He has the same type of style to Jean, where he's moving forward and he can throw crazy combinations. Like, look at this fight, guys. I think you guys will remember this one, where he went in there and marauded the Dan Hooker, beat him in 2.5 minutes, like right out of the gate. That was sort of his coming out party, in my opinion. Cooked Dan Hooker there. Another fun watch. I know, like, Dan Hooker should never have been fighting at 145 again, but still, like, a crazy performance. That's something that Jean Silva does well. Like, he goes forward like crazy and swings. I mean, defensively, not the best thing to do, but normally he doesn't do it. He's more of an in and out type of guy, low volume, good power on the feet. And I think this is a tough fight, man. I feel like minus 300 is a bit much. Now, I have to say that Jean Silva is someone that's definitely more dangerous, scarier as well, a bigger arsenal in terms of the kicks, in terms of the elbows, hooks, the strikes he throws, more dynamic, scarier, more power. And the grappling, I would say, is kind of close. I don't see either of these guys really having a lot of success going for the grappling here, because both guys have good takedown defense. Both guys have good enough grappling for each other. So it is a closer fight than the odds suggest, in my opinion, at least. As I said, minus 300. It's kind of crazy, in my opinion. But you can also see that the UFC is really trying to push this guy, push Jean Silva forward, and they're trying to do it off the back of Arnold Allen. I think he knows that himself. Allen knows this. 31 years of age. It's not that he is old or whatever. He should be getting into his prime only now, but he hasn't fought for 1.5 years, hasn't fought the entirety of 2025. That is a problem. Maybe there will be some ring rust involved. He was not the most active fighter even before this. Look at this. 2021, one fight. 2020, one fight. 2019, he had 2 fights. After 2022, he had 2 fights. But both, like, barely... Both combined haven't even been 10 minutes. Then 2023, 1 fight. 2024, 2 fights. But January and then July, and hasn't fought for 1.5 years since then. So not very active. So I guess it's not a huge issue for him, because it's not like he fights every few months and now he hasn't fought in 1.5 years. Jean Silva, on the other hand, I don't think he's coming back too early, but it might be a problem, because he is someone that is like training like crazy. You know, he puts his chin out there the whole time, probably gets hit a lot on the head in the training, and in the fight obviously got hit a lot on the head as well. So I don't think it's a big problem, but it could be something that's definitely something we should be looking out for, especially with the big power of Arnold Allen. Now, the question is then, who gets this done? I think that Jean Silva is the crazier version of Arnold Allen with a bit more power. He could fight a bit more refined, but I don't think that is something that he can, like, in terms of his mental aspect. He can do it, like, skill-wise, but I don't think that he's ever thought of doing this. He's always been the guy that is kind of technical, but also he wants to get into a brawl. He wants to get something crazy done. Well, Arnold, he can do it more technically, and I think that's what he's going to be trying and doing versus Jean Silva. Now, will he be able to get that done? I think he will be able to do it for a few minutes, but I think that at some point Jean Silva will start laughing or stop, like, giving him high fives, like doing some crazy stuff and playing a bit with Arnold Allen. And we've seen this happen for Jean against Melzik Bagdasaryan, bro. You have to watch this back. It was sort of a competitive fight. He was getting tagged a bit by Melzik, but nothing really happened, right? But then he's, like, laughing at Melzik, like giving him high fives and whatnot. Few seconds later, boom, boom, 1-2, he's done. I feel like that type of stuff plays in the minds of these people. And from what I've heard, is Jean Silva is a very smart fighter. He game plans well. So this might be something that he game plans as well. Like, he puts them off guard a bit and then finds the strikes. And I think that he could do something similar for Arnold. Not finish him maybe, but at least get him into a brawl and into a crazy fight. In my opinion, that's not something that you want to do against Jean Silva. But I would guess that happens at some point. For me, the winner will be Jean Silva. I feel like he has more power. He has more of the momentum now, even though he got cooked last fight. He still has that momentum, still a big underdog favorite, and for a reason. I mean, he shouldn't be that big of an underdog, but I think that he should definitely be the favorite, Jean, I mean, and I think that he beats him. Could be finish. I don't think that Arnold Allen has ever been finished. Let me check. He's never been finished, no. 3 losses, all decisions. He did get hurt by Holloway. He did also get hurt by Yevloev, so he can be knocked out. And a guy like Jean Silva could do it. I'm guessing that this fight does not go the decision. And then I'll have to go with Jean Silva by finish. I'll have to go with him by KO. Second or third round. I think that Arnold Allen will have a good first round. Tag him up a few times and you're like, oh shit, like what's going on? And you'll see the odds like even, and then Jean Silva at some point will have him go into a brawl with him, hurt him once, hurt him maybe twice, and then finish him the second or third time that he hurts him. Maybe even once again a ninja choke if Arnold Allen goes for a takedown attempt. I wouldn't think that that's crazy at all. So I'm going with Jean Silva. I think that even though he has less experience, he has less fights in the UFC, he has fought the lesser opposition, I think that he has that freshness, he has that momentum. He has fought not too long ago, although he got cooked, it's still good. Arnold hasn't fought for a year and a half, and he will really have to maybe shake off some of the cobwebs, because 1.5 years without fights, like 2024 and then 2026, I feel like it also plays like in the mental part. Like it might feel like he has been out of the fight game for 2 years and he's had a lot of injuries. That's also something we have to think of as well. And like bad injuries, man. Even at some point he said that he would not be going back to 145. That's how big he was getting as well. So maybe the weight cut will be a problem. There's a lot of intangibles to think about, and I feel like they go in the favor of Jean. Besides the fact that he got cooked, he got knocked out beginning of September. So he had the month of, let's say September, half of September, October, November, December, and then half or almost the entire month of January. So he's had 4 months, 4.5 months, let's say, to recover. Let's say he recovered 1.5 months. And then he started training. I don't know, that's the thing, because if he trains hard, which he does, if he spars hard, which he does, the chin might not be fully recovered, or maybe even gotten worse. We've seen this happen with a few guys, right? Like Stipe Miocic, for example, versus Francis Ngannou is a very good example of this. So who knows? But I feel like Jean Silva is still pretty fresh. He hasn't had this many wars overall in the UFC. Like he hasn't been getting hit too much. Except for the Diego Lopez fight. So I feel like he's pretty fresh. 29. He has lost 2 times before, but that was early in his career, 2017, 2018. And I don't think that he would have gotten any like crazy wars, because all his finishes, as we can see, are almost in round 1 or start of round 2. So it's not that he's got this crazy decision wars. He's only had 1 decision overall in his career, and that was, of course, against Kevin Vallejo. So didn't have these crazy wars. I'm sure he's still fresh, and with the fighting nerves, of course, I'm sure they will have a very good game plan for him. He just has to follow it a bit more than he did against Lopez, and I think he will get it done here. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think of this breakdown, and I'll see you in the next one.